enterprises at least 15 decision makers, whether you meet with them or not. And I know that if I go around him or go to other people, he would end up becoming my anti-sponsor.
In this episode of Revenue Leaders, we map the buying committee and unpack why deals with only one contact quietly die.
Because I had one exec and no one else underneath to be able to help the doing, it just completely stopped. There's a difference between a champion and a coach. A coach will tell you what needs to happen, but a champion internally will help you drive it internally as well.
If you got a six-figure deal in your pipeline with one name on it, this conversation is for you. Welcome to the Revenue Leaders podcast.
So guess who's back? David's back. Louis gone. So we've you probably recognize a different voice today. So yes, I am back. I know you've missed me. I've got all the letters that have come through. Not really, but I'm back now for this series, Reg. So it's
it's good to have you, mate. Look, I love the rivalry in playing emotional tennis between the two of you.
You're the constant, though, aren't you?
Well, or I wind you both up and give you both shit. So maybe I'm like the evil one out of all of you.
No, it's like the rose between two thorns. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Good. Well, let's dive right into it. Right, today's a good one because this one here, like I recently was the victim of, and it happens from time to time, right? So what we're going to be talking about today is how to map the buying committee. So deals survive if you lose your champion.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, Rex. Can you tell me about a deal that you lost because that person had left or their role had changed, and tell me about what happened?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I think that, sometimes we get to that excitement of like, oh, this deal's going to be great because this person's really enthusiastic. But if you put all of your energy and time into one person, it can create risks, right? Before, we go into a deal that I've actually lost because I've put too much into one person, is that we need to think about it as like, you need to have multiple stakeholders, enterprises, at least 15 decision makers, whether you meet with them or not. So for me, I recently actually did this. And so you need to make sure that it's a constant reminder. I had an opportunity. I thought it was a pretty big opportunity. I went with an executive decision maker. I sat with this individual. We worked out the problem statement. We absolutely had full agreement. I went through all the way up to proposal stage, walked through the proposal, showed him, and he's like, yep, this is great. Like the investment is exactly where I think it's at as well. And I said, look, it is in draft mode, so why don't you review it and we'll come back next week. And then complete stall for several weeks. And then after a while, he was like, you know what? I'm going to have to park this. It's got to be a next financial year thing. And the reason why for that one is that because I had one exec and no one else underneath to be able to help the doing, it just completely stopped.
Yeah, that's a killer.
It is a killer. And I know that if I go around him or, go to other people, he would end up becoming my anti-sponsor. So for now, I've just got to hold steady on that one and not do it. But what I've found is you really, really have to, and it's something I talk about often, but I've been, I've made a mistake in this, is you have to get those additional champions in early in the piece when you're doing your discovery, not later on when you get to proposal stage.
Yeah, that's interesting. So are you saying that because you're at proposal stage, it was too late to ask who else come involved? Because I would think that, okay, this person now is taking on more responsibilities flat out. Is there someone else in the team that I can work with to keep the ball rolling here? Well, you got bigger priorities. You still think you would have become the anti-sponsor?
I think so with that one, particularly because of the individual's role. And I don't want to give anything away because of confidentiality, but the type of role that they had was very much executive operations. You think legal, a few different buckets.
Say his name. I'm joking.
But with that, there were also some, challenges at that next level down from a sales perspective he was navigating. So I couldn't get in there. So for me, to be honest, I probably, upon reflection, I probably should have actually said no earlier rather than pursued it. But this is the thing, right? Sometimes, even the most experienced sellers can get excited on an opportunity.
Yep.
And it's not to say it won't come back. Like, we've seen this recently on one of Louis' deals where like it was a loss 12 months ago and now has come back with an absolute vengeance as well. So I think sometimes it's okay to just take it on the chin as well. But like in hindsight, get more decision makers in earlier, particularly within your discovery stage. And there's a few reasons for that.
So you do it in the sort of the first call. How would you tease that out of them? Like, how would you ask the question that doesn't feel like it's a buying question?
Yeah, there's probably a few ways you can go about it, right? So, like, I like to, if it's say, a head of sales or director of sales, VP, is that I can imagine your day is extremely busy, and adding this to the list, can be yet another thing you have to do. Who else should we bring in now to help guide this internally? Or like another one would be, I understand that this would require a few people's sign off. Is it worth us having that discussion now so we can gain consensus on what the problem actually is? And you and I have seen this on a deal that we're working on together. We originally had had that phone call. Then we've had another buyer in there, and now we've got a third one coming in. It will likely increase over time just because of the, I guess, enterprise value of that.
Mm.
But there are ways to do it in terms of like showing them that, getting that consensus early for them actually makes it easier. So for me, how I see it is like, there's a difference between a champion and a coach, right? A coach will tell you what needs to happen, but a champion internally will help you drive it internally as well, right? So, as the process goes on, define if they're a coach that will like talk to you or give you some insights, or if they'll help you drive it internally. That would probably be number one. And then the second piece to this is you need multiple stakeholders with different points of view, with different, I guess, perspectives on the problem to be able to really hone in on that problem statement, because otherwise you're not going to get consensus. And a lot of deals die because either they have only one person in the deal, or you have the people, but you're not defining the problem.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so how would you deal with the situation where you've got a champion,
Mm.
he or she loves you and what you do and everything like that, and now you're trying to expand out from that champion to get those other buying
Yeah.
committee members in, but that the champion is refusing to let anyone else into the circle. Like, have you ever had that happen
Yeah.
to you, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I guess that, like, I mean, there's a few things there as whether or not they're like it's an ego thing or they want to control it. I guess like, you know, if we were to think about on any deal, there will be those people, irrespective if you get access to them or not. So, you know, first of all, in any deal that you're going after, you should have your ideal client and buyer personas. You should have, mapped who your economic buyer is, who the influencers are, who are the internal champions, all of those things kind of mapped out. And when you're talking to that person, say if they're, kind of blocking and whatever, I like to always go in with the workshop, the value add, something that would help them engage people internally to make them look good. Right. It's not about, so I would position it not as something where you have to have access to them. It's like, how can you make that person that's blocking you look like an absolute hero in this moment? So to me, it would be like, hey, if you were to bring these people in, how about you and I co-present on something where we could do a workshop together and really uncover this and like coach them through it. So then it ends up giving them the status internally as well.
Yeah,
That's how I would do it. But
yeah, no, that's good. As you were saying, that was reminding me of back in my Locomote days when we were winning probably our biggest account.
yeah.
And we had a champion. I'm happy to mention her name, Fiona. She's the best. Fiona, if you're watching, still love you. She brought us in, and it was a very sort of political business. Like it
Yeah.
was quite a large enterprise. But instead of bringing me in and talking to all the individuals, she was then coaching me. Okay, now this person's going to come into the buying process,
Mm.
and you're going to have to deal with X, Y, Z. Right. And then I'd use her as a sounding board. I'm like, Fiona, man, this person is driving me up the wall. They're asking for X, Y, Z. And she's like, you have to do it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's not going to go through. So she goes, just suck it up.
Yeah.
Right. But like there was a sounding board that I had there to make sure that was taking the right steps and we were ticking the boxes where we had to. And then she was almost preempting as well. So rather than getting to touch and feel the people early in the piece, she was shielding us at certain stages and then warning us, okay, now we're going to go through IT and security. And these are the things you need to be aware of before we have the first meeting, the do's and don'ts. Because she really wanted this deal to come through. It was a big project for her, and it was like one of her like her baby that she wanted to see come to life. And so like that was a great situation there where we didn't get access to all the people until the time of the meeting, but we had the coaching from our champion to help make that successful.
I love that. Like, geez, even I love Fiona now. She sounds like an absolute unicorn, and like those people, incredibly, like they are an incredible asset when it comes to those buying committees, right? Because if they're guiding you through it, not all. And Louis and I actually spoke about this on a recent podcast. Is that not all buyers are experienced? So it's like, for those that are, like, take their guidance, really lean into it, because they understand the internal politics, they understand how and when to get those people on board. But then say if you've got that first time buyer, is that you have to guide them through. And I've got a few of those at the moment that have never done it. So it's like, okay, typically what we would do in this instance is this is where you would bring in this person. These are the sort of discussions that we'll be having. Or even at the moment, I have one where I've got two of like exec decision makers, but helping them communicate it to their team is like, okay, here is, some information, here is some text that you can use as speaking points to your team to be able to start this process, and really helping supporting them on their internal changes as well, I think is really important.
Pardon the interruption. I'm Luigi, one of the co-hosts here at Revenue Leaders. You'll notice we don't run sponsors or ads on Revenue Leaders.
This show is free. Our goal is to help you grow revenue and build your sales system that you can rely on. We do have a favour to ask though.
If this episode gives you one clear idea that you can use, do these two things. First, share it with one person, a founder, a revenue leader, or a rep who wants to grow their business. Just one. That's how the show grows.
Second, grab free access to our vault over at coachpilot.com/vault. Inside, you'll get the frameworks, templates, and short courses we use with clients to help them scale pipeline and increase win rates.
So the deal is simple. If you get value, share the episode with one person and go to coachpilot.com/vault to get the tools to put this into action. All right, let's get back to it.
If you're reviewing the pipeline
Yeah.
and you see a deal with one of our team members that's a six-figure deal and there's only one contact on that deal, what are you going to say to
Internally, to our people? Whoa, bit of a backhander.
Just giving the backhander sign up there.
No. So like with it, I mean, everything kind of comes down to diagnosing on particular deals, right? And this is what I know it's a bit of a plug, but this is what I love about Recavi is that say, for example, on our deals in Recavi, because we use it to actually sell our product as well, is that it will instigate, hey, you've only got one buyer here. Like typically you need more than one buyer to move this forward. So I think that like always being open to when you're having those conversations, being able to be curious and leaning into curiosity around what those internal processes are. So if I was coaching someone, I'd be like, okay, have you found out or have you put in past-based questions around how they've made these decisions in the past? And if that's a yes, and it's like, yeah, that's in the planning, we're going to do this next, great. If they haven't, it's like, okay, let's plan to get that decision-making understanding in now. So then that way we can start to put it in motion for, the next few steps of curating that deal through to close one.
No, that's awesome. I think, look, at one clear takeaway for this episode would be go through your pipeline, have a look at the deals that you got in play. Depending on the value, have a look at the contacts. How many contacts do you have in there? If there's only one contact, that's a at risk deal. So map that out. Who else do you think, who you believe needs to be in there? Ask the question on your next call, and then that will help you push those deals through to close one.
Yeah, absolutely. And also know your economic buyer. Like I would also say that constantly reassessing that problem statement as well as a part of the issue, because as soon as another person comes in, you need to evaluate that problem statement, because otherwise it will just end up going to status quo. So if I could build on that, build out the problem statement with any re-entry of buyers, and also know that there is a difference between a champion that moves things internally versus a champion that is, I guess, essentially just engaged or likes our product. It needs to be someone that can push things internally that will really make the difference.